flour is one of my very favorite ancient grain flours that I use. And I use a lot of whole grains in my kitchen. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know this. I use it in a lot of baked goods, but actually my very favorite way to use einkorn flour is to make einkorn pasta, homemade einkorn pasta. If you have felt intimidated by pasta making, don't be. It's time consuming for sure, but it's a lot easier than what you might think. So today I'm going to show you how to make einkorn pasta at home. It is going to be light, it's delicious. That nutty flavor, of course, of the einkorn flour lends itself to a lot of the pasta sauces that you can add to it. But as always, don't forget to subscribe. You do not want to miss any of the new videos that are coming out. And then at the end of this video, also, I'm going to link a couple other recipes that use einkorn flour that I love as well. So let's go ahead and get started. In this recipe, I use a blend of semolina flour. You can see here an einkorn flour. Semolina is very high in gluten. Einkorn is very low in gluten. The combination of the two creates a really beautiful dough while still making it whole grain. If you've never made pasta before, so what you do is you start out by mixing all of your dry ingredients on your surface. You want to make sure that these are well blended, especially because I'm using two different flours here. I make sure that they're well blended. And then once they're well blended, you're going to form a well in the middle of the flour. It's a very traditional way to make pasta. When you get that well in the center, you're going to add in your eggs. Now I use whole eggs and I use egg yolks. I use a combination of both for very specific reasons. Egg whites have a higher water content, so they add to hydration and elasticity. The egg yolks, of course, add to that beautiful flavor, color, and texture as well. So mix these together and you're going to mix them really well. This is one thing that I learned in my pasta making class in Italy this past summer. Was you mix these eggs pretty well before you start adding in the flour. I hadn't done that before. Once they're mixed in, we're going to start pulling in just a little bit of flour from the outsides. Now this, of course, is not hard, as I mentioned before, but it does take a little bit of time. So you take in a little bit of flour, and then you're going to mix that flour in really well, and then you're going to pull in more flour. Repeat this process over and over until it's almost all incorporated. And then once it's almost all incorporated, just kind of like it is here, you're going to start kneading this flour. Now, one thing that I need to mention is that einkorn does not absorb as much moisture as other whole grain flour. So don't add in too much water if you're used to making whole grain pastas. Now, once it comes together and it's rough like this, cover it. Let it sit for at least 10 minutes to 30 minutes. This will hydrate your flours. It makes it so much easier to work with. You can see it's supple, it's soft. And then now we're going to start the kneading process. This is where I turn on some music or a movie and just go to town. Now, it's a little bit sticky on the surface, so you can see I keep my bench knife nearby. Now, maybe I'm kind of anal, I don't know, but I like to keep a clean work surface. One other thing that I do, if you saw that, was I sprinkle just a tiny bit of flour on the surface. That keeps it from sticking and it allows me to knead really easily. After probably 8 to 10 minutes, this is what your dough is going to start to look like. It's going to be very soft. I slow down my kneading just a little bit, and then you're going to cover this, let it rest for an hour. Then you're going to be able to roll it out and use it any way that you like. I have a pasta attachment for my Bosch mixer. I also have a hand crank pasta roller. You can even roll it by hand if you want to. All of them produce really great results. Now this one I just used to make pappardelle. I kind of cleaned up the edges a little bit and then I cut it into about 1 1/4 inch pieces. You can cut it any size that you want. You can make anything that you want out of this dough. And here's what it looks like when it's finished. One thing that I want to make sure that I mention with this, you cook it in salted boiling water just like you do with any fresh pasta. The thing about einkorn pasta though is it's very delicate, it's very tender. So when you cook this pasta, do not overcook it. So like this pappardelle, for instance, that I'm making here, it took me about 2 to 3 minutes. If you cook it longer, a lot of other fresh pastas can hold up to a little extra cooking time. Einkorn pasta does not. It'll start to fall apart. So 2 to 3 minutes at the very most. Pull it out, mix it with your sauce, serve it right away. It does not hold up to extra cooking time. I just want to repeat that. So again, you can see that it's incredibly simple to do. So easy to make. You can also freeze this, but I prefer fresh, served right away. So if you have any questions, of course, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe.